What is up, everybody, and welcome to Spec Tales, a comic book podcast. On this week's episode, Jesus and I are bringing you something we have never done before, a comic book Grail Tale Convention Edition. And of course, we've got some new specs for everybody, so let's get this thing going. This is episode 11.
This is a conspiracy. That's what this is.
Just begging to course its way through your veins.
Let's just for a moment speculate, shall we?
You're into comic books, aren't you?
I'm a nerd.
But you do like comic books.
Comic books aren't just for sad nerds anymore.
Do you think we need one more?
Strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
Do you think we need one more?
Objection, calls for speculation, move to strike.
This is a bad idea. This is a bad idea.
All right, we'll get one more.
Spec Tales, a comic book podcast with Jake and Jesus.
All right, I said episode 11. That's right. We are 11 episodes deep, and we are just kicking this thing off. Thank you, everybody, for listening. I'm Jake. He's Jesus, and you're listening to Spec Tales, a comic book podcast. Jesus, how's it going?
What's going on, man? Just happy to join on this variant edition of episode 11.
Yeah, man. So we've got some interesting stuff going on this week. We've got the normal, pickups for the week. We've got some specs, which I'm excited to get to. But we've got something we've not done before, and that is a convention Grail Tale of sorts. So tell us a little bit, give them a preview about that.
A preview of the convention Grail Tale is...
Yeah, before we get to it.
I guess, let me see a teaser. What is the biggest grail you can think of? No spoilers, though.
No spoilers, Jesus. Just
no
the teaser.
Spoilers. What's the biggest grail you can think of? That's it. That's all I got for you.
Biggest
simmer on
grail
it.
I can think of?
Yeah.
Superman 1?
No, man. You're
Action
not supposed
comics?
To say it. You're not supposed to say it.
No, that's not a spoiler. No.
Okay, maybe. That's all I'll say. Maybe.
All right. Well, we the only way we're going to get there is if we get through all the other stuff that we normally like to talk about, right?
That's right.
Cool, man. All right. So let's do recent pickups. I'm pretty excited about my recent pickups, but tradition says you have to go first.
Well, I'm pretty excited as well, man. I've been, specking on this warm blanket book or different types of books of this one character for a while. None other than him, also known as Adam Warlock. We saw the Cocoon, which is on Fantastic Four number 67 at the end credit scene of Guardians of the Galaxy number 2. I didn't have that book, but thanks to an awesome comic seller on IG, I now have that book in my hand. Pretty good copy, pretty great copy if you ask me. Fantastic Four number 67 in all its glory right here. I'm showing it to Jake.
I know people don't like the cover, but honestly, I never really hated it. It's a little busy, but the Cocoon is interesting for sure. I just says how ugly it is.
Yeah, I just feel like it has some X-Men 94 vibes to it, because in X-Men 94, you don't know what's going on. You think the guy's opening his mouth, and that's really Storm's cape, but it looks like the guy's opening his mouth. So it has some of that vibe. Like, you don't really know what's going on, but it's a Cocoon, and once you understand it, it is a pretty cool cover. When I want to go
off topic, but does that X-Men 94, is that guy wearing a monocle?
Yes.
He is wearing a monocle, right? So it's like Mr. Monopoly.
Mr. Monopoly's opening his mouth. So it's
Mr.
a cross
Monopoly
between
is
Mr.
attacking
Monopoly.
the X-Men.
Yeah.
And
it's a cross between Mr. Monopoly and Kirby.
Kirby's
yeah. That's why the mouth is open. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, there's a little bit of that.
There's a lot of that going on. So yeah, so it's one of those confusing covers, but I don't know. I still think I got a great deal on it. The seller was awesome. The funny story is I found him on eBay through a mutual follower of ours who had posted like, hey, come check this guy's stuff out. He has a lot of cool stuff. And I think actually what caught my attention was a Special Marvel Edition 15. I go to his page, I look at his books, and this is one of the books he has. And I'm like, oh man, that's a cool book. And it's a decent price. Messaging back and forth, we worked out a deal. He says, send me your address. I sent him my address, and he says, oh man, you're local to Houston. I'm in Houston. Let's just meet up somewhere, and I can drop it off, and I could get to meet another local collector. Nice. We meet up at the Starbucks, and great guy. His name's Ben. And he also noticed on my page that I have been looking for a She-Hulk #1. So he had a She-Hulk #1. We also worked out a deal there. We went back and forth. Like, yeah, okay, I'll give you a deal since I don't have to do shipping. So I got She-Hulk #1, which you guys know I've been looking for a while. It's also in great condition. Can use a press. Once it's pressed out, this thing is going to
that is a
be
clean copy.
nice.
That's a high 9.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping for that. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for. But when we made the deal, man, I got a little bit of surprise. He says, thank you, for making these 2 deals with me. I'm going to go ahead and give you the entire She-Hulk, the Savage She-Hulk run. I don't have a need for it. I don't collect them. You buy She-Hulk #1. I'm going to
Are you
give these out to
freaking
you.
kidding me? The entire
No,
run?
man. The entire run.
Wait, how many books is that? How many what is that? Is that 60?
The run
no.
ended
The
at
second
25.
run was 60. The second run was 60.
The first run ended at 25, and 25 is a scarce issue. It's actually a cool cover. It's a black cover, and guess what? He had 2 of those that he threw into the deal. So I have 2 of the scarce issues, scarce, however you say it. Black cover, really cool. 1 high grade, 1
scarce.
I would say
Everybody says scarce. Nobody says scarce.
I say scarce. Just because of that, I'm gonna say scarce now. Scarce issue. Scarce issue.
Nice.
He threw them all in, man.
For no reason? Like you didn't have to try. You didn't have to ask him. You didn't try to offer him any more money.
I didn't even know. I didn't even know he had them with him. I just knew he had a She-Hulk 1. We made the deal on the 1. He gives me the 1, and then he goes, "Hey, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw these in. It'll save me on shipping, and I don't have to find somebody to sell them to." So again, the guy's name is Ben. His Instagram is USTGray TIGRE 20_comics to sell. Bunch of great deals out there. Normally I'd hold on that information to myself, a little Instagram honey hole, but we like to share the wealth here, and we like to help out some of our mutuals. So go follow him, and if you guys are looking for any books, he has a bunch of cool books up there.
Absolutely. Wow. That God, that's like a stupid good deal. Like that's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Follow that now. Follow that now, Jay.
Yeah, I know. If I'd have known that you were gonna have that, I would have gone first. Great. All right. Well, I'm still excited about mine. You can just shove it. So I've been chasing. So here's what I got. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of Creepy. I'm a big fan of the Creepy magazine, Creepy Comics from the Silver Age, Silver, and the Bronze Age. And I have specifically been chasing a book called Creepy #32. This is a Frank Frazetta cover. He has quite a few during the early run of the Creepy series. But Creepy #32 is a werewolf cover. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend just Google it. Go look it up. It is astonishing. It's gorgeous. And it is a cover I've been wanting for a while, and I just can't find it. It's not the easiest book to track down. That said, in my search for Creepy 32, I came across a Creepy #4 and a Creepy #5. Both of these books are from 1965. They are both Frazetta covers. They, one is another werewolf cover, and the other is a Dracula cover. They are pretty popular covers as far as Creepy goes. I don't think any of them are fly off the shelves popular, but there's a few good ones in there. That #32 might very well be one of the most popular covers. So 4 and 5 also for Zeta. I picked those up. Like I said, I got them for about half the price, I think, of what they really should have been going for. But it was a deal, and I don't think people go asking around for Creepy covers all that often. So when this guy heard I was interested, he was willing to make a deal. It was one of those situations where I threw out a number, and he goes, "Deal," and I was like, "Oh shit." Did I go too high? Maybe I got to come back a little lower. But in the end, I still thought I got a pretty damn good deal to begin with. So yeah, no regrets on that. No regrets,
man. No regrets. Those Creepy covers, man, are awesome to me. They look like paintings, basically. Yeah. And I feel that they are undervalued just because we're in a new type of market. that once those other pre-code get way out of hand, which there a bunch of them are already there or getting there, these are going to be high on people's lists. And also, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, 1965, you're looking at almost 60 years old. So getting them in high grade is going to be paramount right now, because they haven't been collected, because they haven't been graded, and as they do become more popular, those are going to be the ones that people are going to covet the most, just because they're like artwork. They really are like artwork.
I agree. Pre-code horror, and in this particular case, Silver Age horror, to me, they are much more collected by the cover, right? It doesn't matter if there's a first appearance or anything like that. And pre-code horror was the same way. People will collect the first appearance of the Crypt Keeper, right, from Tales from the Crypt. But even still, that first appearance, I don't even know if it goes for as much as some of the more famous covers from that era, right? And definitely, you start looking into, when it comes to pre-code horror, I mean, covers rule, right? Like, people are buying them specifically because of what the covers look like. But you can get into some 1940s pre-code horror stuff that, I mean, you want to talk about untouchable. Those things are thousands upon thousands of dollars if you can find them. That's the other thing, is they are so hard to find. The creepy books are difficult to find, but they are not impossible, which also makes the chase fun, because the chase isn't as much fun if the book is absolutely impossible to find. And when you do find it, you're going to have to give an arm and a leg to get it. The creepy books are still hard to find. They're not as common, but when you do find them, you can get them for a reasonable price. And that's why I think they're fun to chase, but you can find them, and you can get them in good grades, good, high grade copies.
Yeah. Now my question to you is, because I've been, and I've talked to you off air, I might just go all in on pre-code, right? We've had that conversation.
Yeah.
Is this a gateway drug? I mean, a gateway to collecting, like, for example, Frazetta, because I'm just looking at some of his famous funnies. I think Famous Funnies 214, awesome book, Buck Rogers, sci-fi, from the 1950s, 1954. Is that something that's a gateway drug for you to collecting some of the older pre-code stuff?
I'm not saying that it is kind of a gateway, drug, comic drug of sorts, but I'm not going to say it's not, because I am currently looking for pre-code stuff by these artists now that I found them in Creepy Magazine. That is certainly a part of it. One thing that I am actively seeking as well is a Tales from the Crypt 42. The reason I'm looking for that particular book is because there is a creepy number 8 cover that I already own. I owned it. It was one of the first ones that I bought. When I looked at the run, I was looking at all the covers, and I immediately picked out number 8. It's this terrifying but just engrossing cover of it's Dracula, right? Like, it's these 3 guys circling around Dracula's coffin. One's opening the coffin up. One of them is holding a stake over Dracula's heart, and the last one is wielding a hammer. He's winding up, and he's going to come down on it, and Dracula's face is mortified in terror that he's about to be killed. And that's the creepy cover, and it's like an oil painting, right? It's like a piece of artwork. And that was the first time I had seen that image depicted. And then I was looking through some old Tales from the Crypt books, and I come across an image that strikes me as very familiar, of the same scene, actually. The 3 men surrounding a coffin, one holding the stake, one wielding the hammer, and one opening the coffin. And it's Tales from the Crypt 42. And when I saw it, I immediately said, "Hey, that's Creepy 8. That's what creepy, that's the same it's not, obviously it is I don't know if it's an homage, but I do know that Tales from the Crypt 42 was made significantly earlier. I mean, we're talking 10 to 15 years, 10 to 12 years prior to Creepy number 8. So clearly, I think, all of these artists, in fact, most of the artists that worked on the Tales of the Crypt, or not most, but I believe a lot, also worked on Creepy or went on to work on Creepy. And so it, to me, feels impossible that they didn't know they were doing a scene that had already been done before. So to me, Creepy number 8 is an homage to Tales from the Crypt 42. So now I'm after another grail of mine in some small way that I wouldn't have known about if I hadn't started down the path of Creepy, really. Anyway,
So
what I'm saying is my story was a hell of a lot better than you getting the entire She-Hulk run.
we will let the listeners decide on that one. But you saying that Creepy is not a gateway comic is exactly.
I didn't say it wasn't. I said it may or may not. I didn't commit to anything.
Is exactly what a comic junkie would say, that they can quit at any time. That's what they would say.
I don't need this. I can quit whenever I want. I just don't want to.
So pre-code horror and horror is something that we enjoy. And I feel like this is just the tip of the iceberg with these creepy books.
Yeah, probably. We're probably going to get more into that stuff eventually. So if anybody out there has any pre-code horror Grail tales, get them ready now. Send them our way.
That'd be cool.
We would definitely be interested in talking about those and hearing what you guys have collected and what you've gone after, because I know there are quite a few out there. And the best part about those Grails is they become Grails almost because of how limited and exclusive they are to get, right? There may only be a handful of those books even graded because they're so old and so hard to find. So definitely send us those stories if you've got them for pre-code horror. We will take them. But today on episode 11, we've got to talk about a Comic-Con Grail Tale, or a Grail Tale Comic-Con edition, right?
That's correct.
So you attended a show.
Yes, this is the first comic convention Grail Tale. Pretty interesting, if you ask me. I attended a convention last weekend, or the weekend before last. Last weekend, and it's called Dallas Fan Days, and it is either the biggest or tied for the biggest comic book convention, along with the one here locally to me in the Houston. So it's a pretty big convention, man. It's pretty gnarly. So I was there on business. I was dropping off books to get graded to CBCS for Guaranteed Comics.
Okay.
So that was my initial reason to go. If you go to the convention and you drop off your books there, the turnaround time on grading becomes faster for you. So that's why I was there. That was my initial reason to go. But anytime I'm at a convention, I'm always going to be looking for comic books. Initially, I thought there was going to be more vendors than here locally, but there wasn't as many vendors. So I drop off the books at CBCS, and then I do what's my normal strategy. So the normal strategy that I've come up with over years and years of testing and moving here, moving there or there, and taking a step back here and forward there is I walk around the entire convention and I take a look at all the vendors and all the books that are there, whatever I may be looking for, and see who has the better deals, who's making deals, who's not. And then after I do the first walk around, I know where all the books are that I want. I make up my mind on what books I want. And then I go to each vendor, just like a list, and I start making deals. And depending on who makes the deals, I move down the list. If they do, they don't, whatever. And I end up with the books that I get.
Okay.
But as I was walking around, I was getting towards the end of the convention. And so I was there at, after 4, like the convention started at 4. It took me about an hour to drop off the books because it was kind of busy. So around 5:30, I start walking around the convention. And when I'm getting towards the end, towards the last aisle, was literally the last aisle. There's only like 3 vendors on that aisle. I go to one, and this one vendor has a small booth, and it's still not 100% set up. So
Okay.
he's setting up. He only has like an L-shaped booth with only half of one wall put up, and the rest of the stuff is in old dingy long boxes, yellowing long boxes. Like when I
Okay.
see that, dude, when I see that, is like ding 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 ding. This guy's gonna have some decent books.
You'd rather
So
they have old danky
yes,
boxes
man.
rather than brand new ones?
Yes. What are
You
you
don't want
talking
somebody who
about?
has some self-respect for their collection that they're gonna
No,
put them in updated
no,
new boxes?
no.
See,
You want
I want my
old.
boxes minty fresh. I want new ones,
No.
right?
That means you're paying top dollar for everything, Jake, because you got to pay the guy back for those new boxes. He probably has some new shiny Mylar on there. You got to pay him for that
What if the
Mylar.
boxes are like the painted ones, the ones that have like the graphics
Oh,
on them or stuff like that?
even worse, man.
You don't want to
Now
you don't
you're
want to buy
paying a
from that guy?
premium. Now you're paying a premium on top of the actual FMV
Yeah,
because
but
you
the
got to pay for
boxes are
that.
so cool, you know?
Okay, well, you get to pay for them.
I've seen some
So
people who
yeah, man.
actually do like custom there's a guy on Instagram. I apologize that I don't know your name. That does literally custom boxes for himself. I think he might sell some of them, but like something is
Oh,
healing the children. He does designed artwork on them.
that's pretty cool. Thank
It's
you
pretty
for
badass, but again, you are paying a premium to have some pretty badass long
art
boxes.
art on there.
Art on the
Yeah,
boxes. So, all
yeah,
right,
that's pretty
continue
cool.
with your old skanky long boxes game.
Dingy, yeah. So I'm there, and again, I'm the only one there because he doesn't have a lot of stuff up. And I'm looking at the one side, and he has like some good books. He has Hero for Hire #1. He has a She-Hulk #1.
Okay.
He has
Oh,
I think some,
timeline. Is this before or after you picked up your She-Hulk #1?
this is before. This is before.
Oh, okay. So you were on the prowl. You were looking for
Yeah, I was looking
She-Hulk
for it, and
#1.
I actually asked to see that She-Hulk, and I saw it, and it was pretty high grade, man. It was pretty high grade. I would say it had a shot at a 9.6 or a 9.8.
Wow.
The only issue that it had, and just check this out too. Like he didn't care for that book, man. Like that book didn't even have a backboard. It was just
Oh
it
my
was
God.
just yeah. So I was able to turn it around, and I saw the only thing on the back was there was some like faint color rub, or he called it like the page, the ad underneath was bleeding through to the back page because it's white. He said that's printer, that doesn't have anything to do with the book itself. So he wanted, I think, 150 for it. So again, I don't buy anything the first time I see books. I just go around looking. But as we're talking, as I'm putting it up, he's starting to put up other books, and I mean, he takes off these, like he takes out a stack of books and he starts putting them up, and I don't know. No more suspense. He put up Fantastic Four #1 through like number 20, just in a row. He's just putting up on this row, and they're just in a row. And I'm like, oh man, he has the whole Fantastic Four run from 61, we said, I think, to be on the safe side.
Yeah.
1961. And I'm like, oh man, that's awesome. So now
that is a heavy shelf.
So now I'm
These are all
invested.
raw.
Now,
These are all raw.
These are all raw. These are all raw. He doesn't have any graded books. No graded books. So I'm just waiting. I'm like, nobody's around me. I'm just waiting. What else does this guy have? Trying to make conversation. And all right. So before I tell you what he pulls out next, let me describe to you this guy. This guy is a short, older gentleman. I want to say, I don't know, early 60s maybe. Okay. Maybe late 50s, but early 60s maybe, somewhere around there. Jean shorts, polo shirt.
Were they jorts?
They were jorts.
Like homemade jorts?
No. They weren't homemade. I think he bought them like that.
I'm just getting a gauge. All right, that's fine.
He's wearing a polo shirt. That's probably from when he bought that Fantastic Four #1. I mean, it was being held together by thoughts and prayers. It had holes everywhere.
He had literal holes in his shirt.
He had holes in his shirt, man. He had holes in his shirt.
Okay.
And the kicker, he was not wearing any shoes. He was not wearing any shoes.
Okay.
It wasn't
like he had shoes there, right? You saw his
no,
shoes like
no
near him.
No, listen. He had no shoes. It's like an hour to get from the loading docks. No, I don't say an hour. It's like a mile to get from the loading docks into the show itself to put up all these books for him. And you can tell he walked all those feet with no shoes. So
there's no way.
We talked.
He probably had sandals. He had them tucked under the table or something.
No, I didn't see any shoes, man. And his shoes looked like he had been walking with no shoes on the whole day. I mean, they were dirty, some dirty shoes. Okay, so then,
wait, did he have Hobbit's feet? Like
yeah, he actually did have Hobbit's feet, man. That's what they look like. I mean, that's actually a good representation or description of him, man. Short, scraggly hair.
Wait, was he smoking a pipe? Did he smoke a pipe?
Oh man, I can't. I don't know, man. He probably was. If I squint, maybe he was. I can't really remember at this point. But yeah, so this is the guy. This is the character, and that's what I'm going to call him now. This is the character that had these books. So as I'm talking to him,
Bilbo Baggins, right? And
it's Bilbo Baggins about to retire with these crazy books. Then he takes out my Grail, Amazing Fantasy number 15, the first appearance of Spider-Man, and
you bought it, right?
I just get this crazy sensation. I'm like, oh man, I'm not prepared for this. What is going on here? How does this guy have one? And it's raw, not the best grade. I literally would say 0.5, 1.0. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta see that book. Can I see that book? He's like, yeah, here. And he hands it to me. So now it's in my hands and I'm looking at it. And as I'm looking at it, I'm in awe. He takes out another Amazing Fantasy 15 and he puts it in the back wall. Two Amazing Fantasy 15s. And then after that, he takes an Amazing Spider-Man number 1. Hold on. He takes an Amazing Spider-Man number 1.
We haven't covered the last one yet. So he's got two Amazing Fantasy 15s. Are they both super low grade? They're both raw.
No, they're both raw. Everything is raw. Everything I tell you about this guy's booth is raw.
Bilbo's raw. Okay, got it.
Yeah. So he has that one. That one is in better condition. That one, I would say, in my untrained eye, but trained, it's a 5.0 to a 6.0 probably. Maybe a 6.0 if you're lucky. Yeah, it's a decent grade copy.
That's a big boy book.
So I hand it back to him and I say, can I see the other one? And he hands me the other one. I'll take a look at it. Okay, so I'm looking at it. Now I've had two different AF-15s in my hands in the span of
does he have backboards on these?
He does have backboards on these. Backboards on these.
Okay. All right.
So I ask him how much he wants for the obviously lower grade one, and he says he wants $18,000 for it, which, as we've talked about in this podcast before, that is not a bad deal for that book. Then I ask him how much he wants for the better grade one, and he says $35,000, which, if you can get a 5.0 in that book, it's worth well more than $35,000.
Okay.
So yeah, I wasn't prepared for it. I didn't have my money situation right, so I had to let him go. I had to say, not today, but I will soon have one of those in my collection. But before I leave, his partner in crime, he may be related. I mean, they had a lot of the same body type, a lot of the same mannerisms.
It's Frodo.
He starts like running through the convention. I can see him coming from my right side, and he's hunched over like he's carrying a football, his head down, and he's just running to the booth. And as soon as he gets there, he hands over something. I mean, it's obviously a book. I don't know which one it is. And the original Bilbo grabs the book, turns it around, and puts it on the wall. And it's a Batman number 1. First appearance of the Joker, first appearance of what ended up becoming Catwoman. And it's the first Batman solo series. The big yellow copy with Batman swinging in and Robin swinging in. Dude. That book right there is a super grail. We've talked about it. That book
they almost don't get bigger. They almost don't get bigger.
Yeah, that's out of the hands of 95% of collectors. I mean, I saw probably 150,000, 200,000 at least for that book is probably what he was asking. It was in decent condition. It wasn't the greatest condition. You can tell on the edges and on the spine of it.
What year is that book from? I mean, seriously. I
It's
mean,
from like
that's
1934.
30,
39.
no.
Oh, 30, no, 39 probably. Hold on, let me check. Just to make sure we're on the
Yeah,
right page.
to be honest, I don't research that book all that often because it's never it's never been anywhere near my price
1940.
range.
April of 1940.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so I mean, 1940, any condition is good condition at this point. Not to mention, it's literally Batman #1. So, holy
Yeah.
shit! So this guy with no shoes, Bilbo Baggins, is
Mhm.
rolling like $1 million in books deep at this convention.
Yeah, I mean, you can say that. I mean, he definitely had Fantastic Four #1. I know he had #1, he had #2, he had #4, he had #5. That right there is a good.
You said he had
I don't know
the early run, right? Almost basically 1 through 20
Yeah,
or something like that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So he had 1 through like 20.
Because there's a lot in there.
Yeah. So he had the first Doom, first Namor in the Silver Age, first Fantastic Four that he was asking 25,000 for. I mean, he had a bunch of Spider-Man keys. I'm looking at a picture I took of it. He had ASM1. He had first Vulture, first Green Goblin, first Doc Ock. So I mean, he just had all the keys that you needed. He had. I mean, I'm looking at. He had first Punisher. So he just had everything you need right there, man. So it was a Grail booth. Whatever Grail you needed was there. And in all my years, I've been going to conventions for 10, 12 years. I've gone to a bunch of them. This year alone, I've gone to 4 conventions. I had never seen this guy before. And I posted this picture on my other page, my sales page, and it got a lot of likes and a lot of comments. And one of the comments that it got was that this guy apparently has been banned from some of the conventions for having books with restoration on them and not letting people know that there's restoration on them.
Oh.
So that's the bad part of it. That's the downside of it. Again, I don't know. This is hearsay. This is a comment on an Instagram page, on a post, but that would make sense why he's and I forgot to mention that he did have a thick New York accent.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, what it has to do with is that he was probably on those East Coast conventions, and then once he got kicked out of those, he came down south.
So yeah, he came southwest, and so
Yeah.
he. Okay, all right, that makes a little bit more sense. I thought you were just saying like everybody in New York is dishonest, and they're not.
I would never say that about Yankees fans or people that like the Yankees ever.
What do the Yankees have to do with it? You're wearing an Astros hat. You want to really jump into this? No, we're not.
What does having an Astros hat have to do with anything?
Nothing. We're moving on.
So yeah, man. So really cool booth. A lot of cool keys. I mean,
okay, but now, okay, hear me out on this. The guy, if he's got books with restoration and he knows it and he's not disclosing it, that's wrong. I'm not condoning any of that. That's wrong. However, he's got a lot of old books, a lot of very old books, a lot of books, even with restoration, people are still wanting those books, right?
Yes.
Now,
yeah. So I've thought about
still not
this
a bad
lot.
booth. I think if there's restoration, obviously you disclose that.
Yeah, I mean you disclose it, but like I'll give you an example too. So I've thought about this a lot. That $35,000 AF-15 is one that I would want, right? And if I had the money at the time, I would negotiate. Obviously, if I'm giving over that much, I'm not going to pay 35 for it. So let's say I got it for 30.
But you already said that's like a 5.0. I mean, in your trained eye,
yeah,
it's a 5.0.
Yeah. So let's say I get a 5.0 out of it, restored.
Okay.
Right. A 5.0 is 60 grand.
Okay.
Right. Like
so
Blue
maybe
Label.
he's discounting the price. He's already given 35. Right. So
yeah.
he's somewhere probably in the ballpark.
And even then, I maybe we should do some research into this. Maybe we should reach out to one of our buddies. I think Ryan has a good grasp of these big keys. Does the 30-40% decline in value, does that still carry for big major keys and super grails? Like,
or does
is
it
that
shrink? Because I'm sure
yeah.
it's I'm sure there is some drop. There
Yeah,
has
no,
to
no, no.
be,
I
of
know that
course.
there's drop, but is it 20% versus 40? Is it 10%? You know, because they're harder and harder to find. They're super expensive, and I don't know. I just feel like there's a less drop in them. Like again, if I would have gotten that book, if I would have gotten it for 30 and it came back restored as a 5.0 or better, I honestly, and I'm being honest, I'd been like, okay, I still got the book and I'm still happy with it. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
got it raw. I was able
Yep.
to read it and then I was able to slab it. So
Yeah. I mean, it's not like we're talking about, a special Marvel Edition 15 that came out in 1974 that you thought was, unrestored and it came back restored. We're not talking about a book like that, are we?
no, I mean we have talked about a book like that, but we're not talking about that book right now.
No. We're talking about Amazing Fantasy 15, where it is a
Mhm.
book where literally in any grade, it's a Grail. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. In any grade, with whatever color label you want to put on it, they want to put on it, doesn't matter. It's a Grail. So,
Mhm.
yeah, man. Okay, so let's end with, did you buy anything? Did you find anything? Did you get anything?
So no, man. This is the first time I haven't been able to get something at a convention. I didn't mention at the beginning, but there was a lot of high prices. There's certain books that I go for when I go to conventions that I already have marked up, that I already know the prices on them and the grades on them. Some of the books that I was looking for were She-Hulk. I was looking for Vengeance #1, which is the first Miss America Chavez.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking for the first Kamala Khan. I was looking for first Boba Fett, Star Wars 42, and I was also looking for Jima, a Jima #1 in high grade. So, I mean, there was just almost comically high prices, absurdly high prices. Some stuff was selling, some stuff was not. Uh, at this booth, I was gonna get the She-Hulk #1 for $150, and when I came back around to come get it, it was literally in the hands. And it's funny because my wife was making fun of me because I said it was in the hands of some young kid, and I said he was like in his early 20s. She's like, "You're calling a guy in his 20s a young kid?" I go, "Yeah, he's a young guy, and he was paying him $150 for that book." And I was like, "Man, well, that guy got a good deal. Good for him." But that was a pretty good deal at that point. So I didn't get that one. I did make a deal on two Kamala Khans. I think they were both 9s or maybe 9.2s if I got lucky. They were 250 each at the same booth, and I got them down to 400. But at the end, when I went to pay, he wanted cash. So when I showed him my debit card, he wanted the 500 for it, and I didn't feel like walking all the way to the other end of the convention. It's really at the beginning of the convention, which was like I mentioned, a mile away to the ATM to get cash. So I just said it wasn't meant to be, man, and I just left with nothing. But that ended up turning into my She-Hulk with Ben and getting the whole run of Savage She-Hulk. So
which
it
is
ended up
great.
working out.
Yep. Yeah, I guess so. It did. That really came full circle, didn't it?
Yep.
Nice. All right, cool. Well, man, as far as a Comic-Con Grail tale, I think we could have done better, but the the listeners are just gonna have to accept it for what it is. Maybe I'll have to go out and I'll have to do this so that we can get a proper Comic-Con Grail tale. We keep sending Jesus out to do it. He's coming back empty-handed. The listeners are
look,
disappointed. I don't want
they're
you to,
disappointed.
but don't be disappointed in yourself. You did a great
Well,
job. You did the best you
Here's what
could.
here's what I tell you. The listeners will accept nothing less than you going to another convention and coming back with Batman #1 from 1940. So that's on you now, buddy.
I'm not really collecting Batman right now, so I'll.
Oh, you don't have
I'll,
to be,
I'll
man.
pass
You don't
that
have
along.
to.
I'll
But
let you handle it.
that's what you need to do now.
All right, man. Let's see. We're getting short on time, so let's go ahead and let's wrap this thing up with a couple of specs. You've got some spec. I've got some spec. We all got some spec. So let's spec. I'm gonna kick this thing off. I've got some interesting facts. I'm just gonna toss them at you. I'm gonna throw them at you really quick, and I want you to figure out which one I'm specking on. Okay.
All
I got
right.
3 books,
Sounds good.
and I'm gonna give you the names of the books, why they're relevant, and their prices. So we've got Tales to Astonish 13. Wait, what do you got a question?
I'm gonna rank them. which one I think is the book to get,
No,
in my
all right.
opinion, without knowing anything.
All right. Well, it's not that complicated of a game. Tales to Astonish 13. This is printed in 1960. This is the first appearance of Groot, and this is the universal grade of a 4.0, $2,900. That was the most recent sale. 4.0 sold for $2,900. Tales to Astonish 27, printed in 1961. First appearance of Hank Pym, Ant-Man, 4.0, universal grade, $3,900. Okay. Tales to Astonish 44. This is the final book. Tales to Astonish 44, printed in 1963. This is the first appearance of Wasp, 4.0, universal grade. Most recent sale, September 20th, this year, $790.
What?
$790.
There's no way. It's under $1,000, dude, for a
under
4.0?
$1,000, sold less than 10 days ago.
Wow.
I'm telling you right now, the first Wasp, a very major character that is getting another movie in the MCU with Ant-Man, and that book is going for ridiculously cheap prices when you put it next to other books within, the same, range, right? We are talking about a Silver Age key with a major character, not just in the MCU, but in the Marvel universe, in the comic book universe. Wasp is extremely important. So this character, who is incredibly important, is undervalued. And I don't think enough people are looking at the book. Now, $790 for a 4.0, I mean, it's not chump change, right? But I'm saying, look at the ceiling. Look at where Groot, right? Groot, who is a popular character, however, nowhere near, in my opinion, as important as Wasp. And the ceiling that you're looking at, Groot, a 4.0 from 1960 is worth $2,900. Now, does that mean that a 4.0 Wasp has a ceiling to get up to $2,900? I don't know. Maybe. Depends on how popular the character continues to grow. But I think there's a possibility. There's certainly room to grow in it. So that's my spec. I was just doing a little bit of research into the characters, and I just, no pun intended, I was a little astonished.
Well, I will say two things. Classic 60s cover, Tales to Astonish, a title, which I always think is cool. She's on the cover. She's saving Ant-Man.
Yep.
Anything, like everything you want from a Silver Age book. Also, she's a female, like one of the first early female heroes. Really cool cover, man. I like the cover a lot. It's pretty cool. I might be picking it up. I don't know. And it's not because you recommended it.
I mean, it can be, though. It can be if you want. So
if you want to think that, that's okay.
Well, when you get it, I will say that it was because of me. All right. What do you got?
All right, man. Keeping with my theme for this month of Hispanic Heritage, I have two dollar bin books for you, basically, that have potential to blow up, really. I mean, the first one is going to be a Marvel book. It's called Shadowland Power Man #1 from 2010. So a modern book. It's the first appearance of the second Power Man. His name is Victor Alvarez. He is actually of Dominican descent. So that's the tie-in to the Hispanic heritage. And then why it might blow up is because his superpower is the ability to wield chi energy, a lot like a character named Iron Fist.
Yes.
So now people have been speculating on Iron Fist a lot. I don't see it. He's somewhat of a problematic, character now from representation standpoint, and they already did that at Netflix. I don't know if they want to retread that. We have Shang-Chi. Why not bring in a Dominican Power Man that has the same abilities as Iron Fist, but is a different character? So that book, super low sales on. I'm just giving you eBay sales. August 8th, $5. August 7th, under $10 shipped. So really affordable book.
Wow, those are really affordable.
Yeah, man, and if they do have anything, if he does come out in any Disney Plus show or anything, that's going to go up maybe to $100. So those are some good returns if you want to sell or flip.
That's
So
nice.
the
That's cool.
second book, DC book. Now I'm always gonna have to do a DC book. I really like this spec. I really like this character. The spec is Aztec. That's the name of the character, and he comes out in Aztec, the Ultimate Man #1 from 1996. This guy has a magical suit of armor that's capable of manipulating reality itself. So his real true power is kind of immeasurable. He has a lot to do with some gods. He's in the middle of a war between two gods from like a Mexican mythology.
Okay.
And he's one of the good side's wards, like his agent for the good side. So to me, he has a lot of vibes like Hercules.
Oh, okay.
Because he's like the Hercules for DC. So if you're on Hercules for Marvel, then you should be on Aztec for DC.
I don't know anybody who's on Hercules for Marvel, by the way.
Yeah, there's not that many people on it.
Thinks that Hercules is coming to the MCU.
So what I will say
is,
if you are, this would be a good book to pick up. What I can say is a lot of these books, and I'm learning this as I'm specking on these books and buying these books because I bought Chronos already, which is by the way, it's a fantastic series. You should pick it up just to read it. It has a lot of time travel in it, which is really cool. Aztec is hard to find on eBay. I've only found one so far.
Oh,
for $1, asking $1.64 and then $10 in shipping. So it's got to be in a lot of dollar bins.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got to be in a lot of dollar bins. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna read it. I think it's a cool character. Also, Aztec is of Mexican descent, so another tie into Hispanic Heritage Month. So those are my two specs for this episode.
Very nice, very nice. And yeah, if you're specking on Hercules, you might as well go with the DC equivalent. There's no reason not to cover your base because it seems like DC is chasing in many ways, and they seem to replicate what's going on over at the in the MCU. So that's interesting. I like it. Cool. And you know what? If you can, I'll check at my LCS next time I'm there. I'll probably be there this week, of course. So I'll drop in there and I'll see if there's anything if they got multiple books, maybe I'll give you one. If they only have one, that one's for me then. So
all right.
Nice, man. Okay, well that's gonna wrap this one up. I want to close real quick. We got some reviews, and I want to make sure we give a shout out to some people in the reviews. So just really quick, bear with me while I pull these up. I want to say, so we've got the first review is from Hutch the Clutch, and I believe this is from a friend on Instagram, Hutch Williams, who has his own, he's a part of another comic podcast, Comics, Heroes, and Shenanigans. I think you can find it on Spotify, or I should say, I believe you can find it on Spotify. And really cool of him. He went ahead, and this was something I will say, before I saw this comment, I actually didn't know who Hutch was. But Hutch, thank you for reaching out. Thank you for listening. He wrote, addicting. Can't stop listening. Love the stories, the Grail tales, and the spec on the books to look out for. I am learning a lot as a super beginner in comic collecting and maybe selling one day. Appreciate you guys sharing the knowledge. You definitely have a spectator. Did you hear that one, Jesus? A spectator.
Oh, I like it, man.
I love that. Seriously, we may have just got the name for all of our listeners, for the tens of 5 of you out there, the spectators.
All 3 of you guys, all 3 spectators.
And for your kids, they could be the spectator tots, right?
Yeah, there you go, man.
No,
the
maybe
taters.
The taters. Okay, and then we got another one. This one is from Sendog. So I don't know who Sendog is, but Sendog, if you're out there and you are listening, feel free to reach out on Instagram. We'd love to hear more from you. And if you've got a Grail tale, please do share. Just wanted to say I'm really enjoying the content you guys are putting out. Please keep it up, as it is very enjoyable listening. All the best moving forward to you both. Zendog, thank you very much for that comment. We appreciate it a lot. And everybody out there who's listening, thank you for listening. If you've got a tale or something like that, we would love to talk to you about it, or we'd love to just tell everybody on the air what your tale is. We are specifically looking for, I said earlier, if you've got a pre-code comic book tale, we'd love to hear that. Also, if you've got an Amazing Fantasy 15 story, we are currently collecting Amazing Fantasy 15 Grail tales. We'd love to get one of those on air. We haven't had one yet. So please, if you've got one, reach out to us via email or via, Instagram. You can catch us at spectalespodcast@gmail.com or spec_tales_podcast. That's our handle at Instagram. Reach out. Let us know if you've got a tale. We'd love to tell it. So that's what we've got for a show today. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll catch y'all next week.